All right, we'll go to Brad Sherman. Now, this was in Congress before they passed the bailouts. What Representative Brad Sherman had to say in Congress about the economic collapse and how they were being manipulated to pass it.
Pass this bill is by creating and sustaining a panic atmosphere. That atmosphere is not justified. Many of us were told in private conversations that if we voted against this bill on Monday, that the sky would fall, the market would drop 2,000 or 3,000 points the first day, another couple thousand the second day, and a few members were even told that there would be martial law in America if we voted no. That's what I call fear-mongering. Unjustified. Proven wrong.
And that's why they passed this. They were told we were going to have martial law if they didn't pass it. And that was the $700 billion, which was actually just a small amount compared to what ultimately the whole thing has turned into, and it's not over yet. Bloomberg at one time was reporting it was $12 trillion. And we're seeing this is what the Federal Reserve has looted the Treasury, but we're on the hook for it as taxpayers. It's just incredible that we as a people, as a society, sit back and accept this from our government. You know, we're supposed to be the government. The government's supposed to be us, the people, but it's not that anymore. They're elitists that are telling us, the peasants, hey, this is the way it's going to be. We don't represent you no more. We don't have a representative form of government. Now, I think we've got a good congresswoman here in this area, Virginia Fox. She voted against the bailout. She voted against the health care. Talked to her several times. She invited me and Brian up to D.C. We met with her. But she can't do it alone. But just like she said today, the fix is in on the health care. She said the fix is in. The fix is in too many times. The fix is in darn near every time. That's what's got us into this situation. That's why not just you, but your children and your grandchildren are being sold out if this skyrocketing debt continues, as unemployment continues also. But to move on from that, I wanted to play a clip where Senator Sanders was talking about the no accountability to Congress by the Federal Reserve. But if y'all have been watching the news from last September to now, you see that the Congress is admitting that they can't find where the money went. There's no accountability. The Federal Reserve is just hoarding the money. You can't get loans. In fact, interest rates are going up. It's hard to get a loan after all this money has been shoveled into supposedly fixing the problem. But to move on from that, the Barack Obama administration, which is completely Wall Street. I mean, I don't know if we've ever had an administration that was completely Wall Street before, but this is all for Wall Street. We don't have anything representing Main Street anymore. It's all for the bankers. Now let's listen to the Barack Obama administration. We got Secretary Timothy Geithner, Secretary of Treasury Timothy Geithner, Bilderberg Trilateral Commission member, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Bilderberg CFR member, married to Bill Clinton, who is a trilateral member, Ambassador to the UN, Susan Rice, Trilateral Commission member, National Secretary Advisor General James L. Jones, Bilderberg CFR and Trilateral Commission member, Deputy National Security Advisor CFR Thomas Donnellan, State Department Special Envoy Henry Kissinger, Bilderberg CFR Trilateral Commission, Chairman of Economic Recovery Committee Paul Volcker, Bilderberg CFR Trilateral Commission, Director of National Security Admiral Dennis C. Blair, Bilderberg CFR Trilateral Commission, Secretary of Defense Robert Gates, Bilderberg CFR Trilateral Commission, Deputy Secretary of the State James Steinberg, Bilderberg CFR Trilateral Commission, State Department Special Envoy Richard M. Haas, Bilderberg Trilateral Commission President of the CFR, and Presidential Advisors Alan Greenspan, Bilderberg CFR Trilateral Commission, State Department Special Envoy Richard C. Holbrooke, Bilderberg Trilateral Commission CFR. When we have a president, their whole administration is made up of these one world government members that are in these groups that we never talk about, we never hear about, because we don't elect them to these different groups that they meet in, and their agenda is all the same, and we're seeing it come to fruition now, because the mask is off now. You are seeing Gordon Brown, you're seeing Henry Kissinger, you're seeing Brzezinski, you're actually seeing President Medvedev, who spoke, where was it he spoke, where he actually had the one world coin?
It was at a G20, wasn't it?
G20, which now, you know, they used to have those meetings ever so often. Now they have them practically all the time. Talking about the dollar's collapse. China's called for a one world currency. All of these heads of state are talking about a one world government. And even Timothy Geithner has talked about maybe moving straight to a one world currency. And what you reported today, what was the bank in France?
Oh, Société Générale.
They are telling their, and this is in France, they're telling everyone that banks with them to prepare for a complete economic collapse. We're seeing these things now in the mainstream press because it is all coming to fruition, and we should as people that go to church, as Christians, we really shouldn't be surprised, because if we expect to see at some point the Antichrist come to power, they are going to make plans and move forward to a one world government prior to his arrival. I would say that's what his minions would be working toward, and that's what we're seeing blatantly now when you just turn on the news. With gold skyrocketed, record unemployment, economic collapse by design, housing foreclosures, our country is past bankrupt, and our society is in moral, spiritual, and economic bankruptcy. So I don't see how we really expect things much to change, but that's really all I've got for you tonight. If there's anything any questions you'd like to ask, I'll be happy to answer them if I can. Like I say, don't pretend to know all the answers. You know, one of the things that if you listen to me on the radio, and I've got some clips here we can play, you know, I questioned the events of 9/11, the government's version of 9/11. Last month, we just had a senior council member to the 9/11 Commission saying that it was riddled with flaws. Something that I said on September 12th, because on September 11th, I went home and taped the news the whole day, and when I watched it back the next day, I saw things that had never been played, haven't been played since. But I taped the news that day. I, for one, don't believe the government's version of 9/11. Don't know what happened, but I don't believe the government's version of 9/11. 9/11 played perfectly into the New World Order plan to, one, take our rights here at home, and they have done that. Warrantlessly eavesdrop on your phones, no-knock searches, put all of America under scrutiny as terrorists. You know, we're going to find the terrorists everywhere, but at the same time, they won't secure the borders. Borders are wide open, but we're looking for terrorists everywhere. You know, it don't make any sense.
Well, what I always say, just to add something real quick, is their excuse was the terrorists attacked us because we're free or democracy. So what happens? They give us the Patriot Act, they take our rights away. So essentially the terrorists won, given their excuse for why they attacked us.
That's an excellent point. And then, look at what's happened since. One, George W. Bush said the wars would pay for themselves, which didn't happen. It's cost us $1 trillion. And Iraq, if you do believe the government's version of 9/11, Iraq wasn't where the terrorists come from. They come from Saudi Arabia. And although Saddam Hussein was a very bad man, you have to ask yourself, if he'd lived 10 lifetimes, would he kill more of his own people than we have now? The BBC's reporting we've killed over 600,000 civilians. Not military, but civilians. And of course, we've spent $1 trillion, and we are bankrupt. There's zero in the till in America. We're $12 trillion past bankrupt. We've got 700 military bases around the world, and we're getting our young men and women killed over in Iraq. And here at home, our economy is just being decimated. And of course, then, you know, we had the weapons of mass destruction that led us into it. And then, you know, they didn't find any weapons of mass destruction. So there's a lot of questions about Iraq. One of the things, if you can play the Flight 93 one.
I have the 7.
Play the 7. I'll play the 2. I'm not going to tell you what to think. These are just 2 things that the media did show. This is some of what I taped the day of 9/11. Judge it for yourself, because when you get into 9/11, everybody kind of criticizes you, conspiracy theorists. But these are 2 things that to me are the smoking gun of the government at least telling us a lie about what happened on 9/11. Because this World Trade Center 7, when you see the building, we're not talking about the 2 towers the planes hit. This is a separate building.